Cougars. Versus the home team on the scoreboard, the Greenwood Blue Jays. Now let's meet our starting lineups. First for the visiting College Heights Cougars. Number 1, junior Jace Walker. Number 3, sophomore Ben Schumacher. Number 11, senior Colson Dickens. Number 12, senior Caleb Swati. Number 25, sophomore Adam Stanton. Cougars are coached by Stephen Carroll. And now, the home team on the scoreboard, the Greenwood Blue Jays. Number 2, junior Colin Clark. Number 3, freshman Tyler Harrell. Number 22, sophomore Cooper Morgan. Number 32, junior Logan Sanders. Number 44, senior Garrett Winslow. Blue Jays are coached by Darren Taylor.
All right, one change there from the pregame setup. I did have Isaiah Ramula starting, but actually 22 Cooper Morgan is starting for the Blue Jays. I'm Brian Schumacher along with Brad Burns, welcoming you guys to the broadcast tonight here on Facebook Live. We're ready for the opening tip. Cougars going left to right. Blue Jays going right to left. A little excited on the tip. We'll redo it.
Yeah, he's trying to catch it on the way up. And they both out-jumped it then.
All right, Blue Jays get the opening possession. That's Clark, the 6'7" junior. He likes to run point for the Blue Jays. Over to Harrell. Into the corner, back up to the left side. Clark trapped in the corner, back up to the three-point shot on the right, and he makes it.
Yeah, watching them warm up, they definitely can shoot the 3 ball, and 32 is shooting them from the volleyball line, so he was well within his range there.
That was Logan Sanders on the 3. He is their shooter. Walker resets it up top. Greenwood in a 3-2. Into the corner for Dickens. He brings it back up. Over to Walker for 3. Rebound to Quaddy. And he just comes up a little short. Him and Stanton were both there for the rebound and maybe set the delay a little bit. Harrell all the way across. Walker goes for the steal. Sanders gets it over to Clark. One more into number 22. That's Morgan. Back up top to Clark as he'll hold.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch that backside.
Sanders for 3 again. This one's long. Quaddy can't handle the rebound. Falls to Harrell. Inside for Morgan, Cooper Morgan for 2.
That's one thing we've got to for sure do is hold them to one shot if they're going to take those threes. And when they miss, we've got to not give them the easy buckets back.
Schumacher takes the 3 and hits it.
Good to start off hot with Schumacher. He was hesitating. They left him so wide open, he finally dribbled and shot it.
Yeah, Greenwood's going to let us shoot 3s, so if we can hit him, we're going to have some opportunities. Down low, Morgan can't finish. Outlet by the Cougars. Up to Stanton, over to Schumacher. Schumacher drives into the paint, finds Dickens for 3. It's long. Rebound goes to Harrell. He's out running to Sanders. Schumacher there defending and gets called for the blocking foul.
Looks like your neighbor recognized the defender there and called an early foul on him.
Good by number 32, Logan Sanders. On the play, Ben Schumacher called for his first.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he saw there because it seemed like Ben had legal guarding position before the contact was made. 8-3 now the score. Down low for Schumacher. He decides not to take it as Winslow was down there to defend. Back up top to Dickens. Dickens makes a dribble behind his back, gets it in the corner to Walker. Walker reset up top to Quaddy. Over to Stanton for three. He's got it.
It's going to be key if we can keep hitting, just because they're going to allow us those shots.
Winslow comes up to set the ball screen on Dickens. Clark pushes through. Walker got away with a rake there.
Yeah, it looked like he definitely got his arm, not the ball.
Up ahead to Dickens. The floater is good. Tie ball game. Greenwood does a good job of making that entry to the weak side block, and they've done it already successfully a couple times tonight. They've missed the chance, though. Clark rises up from the elbow and hits. Blue Jays in a full court press. Stanton on the ball, gets it up to Walker. Walker into the corner for Dickens. Dickens pushes into Quaddy. Quaddy goes up strong, gets his own rebound, and draws the foul. And he'll go to the line to shoot two.
Took twice to get the call, but we finally did get the call the second time.
Foul called on Garrett Winslow, his first, team foul number 1. Stepping to the line number 12, Caleb Quaddy, shooting 2.
Quaddy a little long on the first. Clark and Winslow, two bigs for the Blue Jays. They aren't shot blockers from what I've seen. They try to contest with both hands in the air. So it is an opportunity for Quaddy to rise up and score over him. Quaddy makes the second.
Our first opportunity to do some pressing here on a made. And
Throw
we
in,
steal it.
Dickens gets the deflection.
It's going to stay white. It's going to stay.
Tyler Harrell, the freshman, inbounding for the Blue Jays. Clark brings it up as the Cougars have moved into a 3-2. Down low to Winslow as Stanton reaches in. Gets called for the foul on the floor.
Yeah, he had good position, but he tried to reach around him then. And
Yukino and Smith subbing in the game as Schumacher and Stanton take a break. Up top to Clark. Clark will take it from there. Over to Sanders. Sanders drives baseline, pulls it up top to Clark. He drives in, pulls up from the elbow. It's short. Winslow gets a hand on it, deflects it to Harrell. Harrell back up to Clark. Clark over to Sanders. He takes the quick three. Backside rebound. Yukino got away with a
push from behind.
Yeah. And
yeah, we can't give them those second chance opportunities. It was lucky it ended up being a turnover there, but it could have definitely been another easy bucket after a long tip out on those threes they're missing.
Walker gets the pass up to Dickens, over to Yukino on the wing. He looks for Walker. Inside to Quaddy, he rises up and scores it.
Tough shot, he hadn't squared all the way back around, but was able to twist his body and make that play.
Cougars with the first lead of the game, pass all the way across to Harrell. Trap comes. Walker loses. Yeah, Walker and Harrell got their feet tied up, and they both lost their footing. But Harrell had the ball, so he got called for the travel. Harrell's going to pick Walker up at the center court. Walker dribbles by. All the way over to Dickens on the left wing. Into the corner for Quaddy. Quaddy gets trapped, gets it back to Dickens. Dickens pushes in, tries to kick it to Quaddy in the corner, but Sanders gets his hand in there and deflects. Winslow picks up the loose ball, gets it ahead to Sanders. Clark there at the elbow, kicks it over to Morgan for three for Sanders, and he hits. Dickens on the left side. Trap comes, he's able to get it to Walker. Inside to Quaddy, too hard, out of bounds.
Yeah,
turnover.
Wasn't quite expecting the pass. He was open.
So Quaddy and Dickens sub out as Cannon Miller makes his first appearance and Stanton's back in. Blue Jays with a 2-point lead. Sanders dribbling it up court. Over to Clark on the right wing. Harrell flashes high into the corner for Sanders. He'll take the quick three. Short again. Clark's there for the rebound. Can't get the finish. And Stanton's able to rip it down. Walker over to Stanton. Back to Walker. Hedging for a trap here in the corner all the way over to Miller. To Smith from the elbow. Goes long. Long rebound goes to Harrell. Sanders may pull up here. He gets all the way in, kicks it back to Harrell. And Harrell hits it. Smith brings it down the right side, up top to Walker, into Stanton. Tries to kick it to Miller. We've had several of those chest passes to the corner get deflected.
Yeah, we're passing it on a straight line, and that's right where their hands are at.
Burns in the game for the Cougars, and Quaddy sub back in. Miller into Stanton. He has a lane and draws the foul. He'll get 2 shots.
It's a good take. As wide as they're spreading out on their zone, that's what we need to be able to do is drive in.
Foul is called on Cooper Morgan, his first. Team foul number 2.
Yeah, they have the bigs down low that kind of give you the threat of not wanting to drive in. But if they can rise up disciplined, like I said, these guys aren't super aggressive shot blockers. They're more trying to contest in an upright position.
Yeah. Just like Jaden Smith had that nice elbow that nobody was around him, is because they've got the bigs staying back and their wings are so far out. It's given that little area in the middle there that we can attack.
Stanton short on the second. Quaddy gets a hand on the rebound and goes out of bounds and ruled off the Cougars. Blue Jays ball. Cougars picking up in full court. Man press, it looks like. Burns on Clark. Clark goes down the sideline, and Burns gets called for the push.
Roderick Burns called for his first personal, team foul number 3.
Clark walks it up, 2-3 zone for the Cougars. Miller and Dickens there. Clark pulls up his dribble, gets it over to Harrell on the left side. Ball screen action by Morgan. Over to Sanders on the right. Harrell kicks it to the corner to Clark. Burns comes to defend. Back up top to Sanders. Sanders to Harrell. Into the corner for, that's Winslow. Back up top to Sanders to reset. Over to Winslow on the wing. Don't think Winslow's going to take that 3. Sanders will. He switches it all the way over to Clark. Clark rises up and takes it. It's short. Dickens gets the rebound.
Good defensive set that time. Oh,
Dickens
dang.
tries to make the sneaky pass, goes right off.
A lot of
Wow.
NBA continuation there, looked like.
Basket was good by Colin Clark on the play. Number 11, Colson Dickens called for his first, team foul number 4.
That's what's known in high school as a travel, but I guess it could be a continuation in this case. Doesn't get the 3-point play as Quaddy pulls down the rebound. Walker pushes quickly up ahead, finds Dickens down low, and Dickens is able to finish. Clark pushes through the middle.
Called another block, and they're in the bonus now.
Personal foul on Colson Dickens, his second, team foul number 5. And to the line number 2, Colin Clark shooting 2.
He makes the first. 6-point lead now for the Blue Jays.
Now the ball game, Kenan Miller.
Miller in for Dickens. Dickens has his second foul. He makes them both 7-point lead. Quickly into Stanton. He gets back to the middle. Pulls up his dribble, gets it to Miller. Miller gets trapped in the corner of Quade. He switches it all the way over his head.
Yeah, just the pressure's not that intense, but we're making bad passes. We're in one of those ruts where we
All right, 40 seconds left here in the first. Winslow comes on the screen. Over to Sanders. He decides not to take it. Switches over to the left side. Winslow drives in, rises up from 10. In and out. Stanton pulls down the aggressive rebound. Over to Walker. Walker gets trapped, gets it to Stanton. Stanton pushes into the middle, finds Schumacher on the left side. Back to Walker. To the elbow to Quade. He rises up and nails it.
good ball motion, good patience.
Sanders to Clark. Back to Sanders looking for a three. Takes it 2 seconds left. Schumacher's got it. He needs to fire it up. And not in time. That's the end of the first. Well, I made a promise that I wasn't going to be annoyed by the high school refs not calling the spin move travel. But then they added a new element that I wasn't expecting, which is the spin move foul, then the extra step, then they award the basket.
Yeah.
So now I have to set a new agenda to not be upset about that missed call. But I can handle it. They missed several on us too, but
Yeah, they seem like they're letting them be awful physical on the rebounds and other things, but then they're calling the little touch foul as they go past on the press or dribbling through, just little bumps and touches there, but they can kind of whack the crap out of them when they're under the basket there. Stan was getting harassed by a lot of slaps there, getting a couple of those rebounds, and they're fine with that.
yeah, you'd like to see those cheap reach-ins get called as fouls because those can turn into turnovers.
Oh, absolutely.
Walker gets trapped, finds Stanton. Stanton to the middle to Walker for three. Off the backboard, Schumacher comes in, gets the rebound, and puts it back for two.
Good crash from the backside. That's what it's going to take. If we miss shots, we're going to have to get extra attempts at it.
Sanders over his head, up to Harrell. Back to Sanders. Harrell looks for Clark cutting through. Goes to Morgan. Ball deflected away, but right back to Clark for three, and he makes it. Boy, I mean,
They're not calling the kick, are they?
they've trapped us there several times. We got to not do that, I think. Schumacher dribbles all the way across, gets it to Walker, finds Quade at the elbow. He rises up, and he's good. That's that sweet spot you're talking about in the first half. They give us that spot, and that is Quade's bread and butter. Harrell over to Sanders into the corner for Clark. Walker defending tightly. That's 22, Morgan. Back to Clark, to Sanders. Inside, Clark quickly to Harrell on the outside. Long rebound. Walker and Winslow fight for it.
Wow.
And
Kid's a foot taller than
ask
Jason.
for help. Ask for help. He's waiting for you. Ask for help. Inbounded up top to Winslow. Over to Harrell. Clark into the corner for Sanders. He enters it into Winslow. Quade defending. Winslow, good turnaround jumper.
Yeah, did a nice job placing that one off the glass.
Clark gets called for the block on the sideline.
Saved Colson that time. But yeah, we keep dribbling right into their trap here, right on the, we need to get back to the middle where there's not a trap available.
Yeah. Inbounded to Stanton, to Quade at the elbow. He gets over to Dickens for a long two, and he gets it. Timeout by,
Yeah, he was hollering for a timeout. It just took the official a long time to actually call it, and they got the ball in, but it was still awarded to him.
all right, so a competitive game. Greenwood leading by 4. They've hit several threes. They're playing Greenwood's playing their game. So you have to say the Cougars being competitive in this while Greenwood's playing what they want to do is a good sign for the Cougars.
Yeah, and what we have to do is be able to shake them up enough where we get them out of their game. Which I'm a little surprised. Usually we apply a lot more pressure with either some type of half-court trap or corner traps, and right now we've just been staying back, and that plays into their ability because they, I think, probably don't handle the pressure as well.
Winslow comes to set the ball screen. Clark pulls it up at the top of the key, feeds it back to Winslow. Winslow will be defended by Dickens. He dribbles over, dribble handoff to Clark. Clark being doubled into the corner for Sanders. Sanders looks inside to Winslow. Winslow, good post move. Doesn't get the finish, and Stanton comes in for the rebound and draws the foul.
Now, like I said, they seem to be letting them go at it. The one, number 2, came all the way in and tried to swat at the ball and collided with bodies, and then they finally called it on number 22, second foul on him.
Frederick in the game for the Blue Jays, subbing in for Cooper Morgan. Ball over to Schumacher. He's back over to Walker. Stanton at the free throw line, Quaddy in the corner. Up top to Walker. Walker pushes into the paint. Winslow gets the block into transition for Clark. Clark with the floater. Dickens pulls down the rebound. Quickly out ahead to Stanton. Stanton goes baseline. Tough shot, gets the roll.
Yeah, I was a little worried when he started up with it, but got the roll with it.
Winslow comes over to set the ball screen. Over to Sanders. Into the corner for Clark. Walker on ball. Back up top to Sanders. Clark on the right wing, switched all the way over to Frederick into the corner for Harrell. Winslow up high. I think that's where the Cougars would like to have him. Clark pulls up for 3. Off the mark, Stanton gets a touch on it, and Walker's able to corral it. Walker looking for an angle to push into the corner for Schumacher. He floats in, and loose ball goes out of bounds. Will stay Cougars.
Stay Cougars ball.
Oh, he's correcting
he's
it.
Switching it.
Smith and Yukonaw subbing in for Quaddy and Schumacher. Harrell will walk it up for the Blue Jays. Trap comes with Smith and Dickens. He throws it high into the corner and out of bounds. That's a smart read by the Cougars. They had the freshman bringing the ball up, and they immediately went into a trap. Blue Jays in a 1-2-2. Walker to Smith, back to Walker. Floater, gets it off the glass.
It's a nice play, way to drive.
Blue Jays will have Clark bring it up this time. Winslow coming on a reset over to the right side to Sanders. Sanders switches it to Harrell. Deflected, Walker's there for the steal. Walker takes it himself, high off the glass. Smith gets the rebound, puts it back, and gets the roll. And the Cougars take the lead, 27-25. Clark quickly up ahead into the corner, tries to push through Yukonaw, kicks it back up to Sanders for 3. Sanders long. Yukonaw pulls down the rebound, outlet to Stanton, up to Walker. Walker finds Smith down low, blocked by Winslow. Smith gets his hand in there and steals. Leaves it for Stanton to Walker over into the corner for Dickens. Dickens pushes in and gets called for the travel.
Yeah.
And the Blue Jays want a timeout.
Cougars were able to crawl back in it here, and just kind of what we were talking about, they must have read my mind, started putting a little bit of pressure on them and making them take some ill-advised shots and some ill-advised passes. We get turnovers and then get transition going is when we do a lot better than setting up a lot of times with just our zone play.
Yeah, our strength is going to be our depth and our speed, and utilizing those together. The Blue Jays aren't going to go too deep. It looks like they have one sub so far, I believe, is Frederick in for Morgan. And so they're going to try to control the pace, slow it down. And the Cougars are going to do their best to speed it up. Clark walks it up. Smith and Miller up high. Enter to Sanders at the top of the key. Over to Harrell. Harrell puts the dribble down all the way across to Clark. Clark jabs, rises up, short, and Frederick gets called for the foul from behind on Yukonaw. And that is the third team foul of the quarter on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that would be the best case scenario if they actually called fouls like they are and get any of their main players in foul trouble.
Walker brings it up, gives it to Smith on the left side. Looks for an option to Quaddy, back up top to Walker. Walker can't handle the pass, and out of bounds, turnover to the Blue Jays. Sanders bringing it up for the Blue Jays this time. Coming up right on the center, asking for a movement by Harrell. Gets it to Winslow, switched all the way over to Frederick. Back to Harrell at the top. Harrell pushes the elbow, kicks it to Clark. Over to Sanders, one more to Frederick in the corner. Winslow comes all the way across, and Frederick resets up to Sanders. Gets Clark at the free throw line, over to Harrell. Back into Clark at the elbow. Ball's loose. Yukonaw is able to get to it and leaves it for Quaddy. Quaddy to Walker. Walker pushes up ahead. Walker picks up his dribble, finds Miller on the left side. Into the corner for Smith. He takes the quick three. Off the rim, Walker's there for the foul. Hard off the glass. Quaddy gets the offensive rebound. Winslow gets the block. And the Blue Jays in transition into the corner for Harrell for three, and he gets it.
Good transition move by them this time.
Blue Jays retake the lead. Into Quaddy, back to Walker. Quaddy at the elbow, rises up, it's short. Winslow pulls down the rebound. Clark pushing out ahead to Sanders. To Harrell for three. It's short again. Clark's able to kick it to Sanders. Long. Quaddy gets the rebound this time out to Walker. And the Cougars will slow it up. 1:38 left in the second quarter. Blue Jays leading by one. Ball sent up to Quaddy, back to Walker. Walker on the left wing, looks for Smith on the corner, resets it over to Miller. Miller back dribbles, picks it up, gets it to Quaddy at the elbow. On the right side for Miller. Switched all the way across for Walker. Finds Quaddy from 12 feet, and it's good. Cougars retake the lead, 29-28. Just over a minute to play. Sanders on the right side. Winslow up high, over to Harrell on the left. Sanders from 10, backdoor pass to Winslow, and he finishes down low. Walker picks up his dribble, gets it over to Miller. Back to Walker. Takes the three, and it's good.
Good ball movement, good shooting.
2-point lead now for the Cougars. 36 seconds left to play here in the first half. Winslow on the left side drives all the way in. Floater off the side of the rim. Clark's there, can't get the follow. Winslow tries, and the second follow is good. Back to a tie game, 20 seconds left. Walker walks it up, looking for the last shot. Harrell tough on defense. Walker in the trap is able to get it to Quaddy, and Harrell wants a timeout. Coach Harrell wants a timeout.
Yeah, didn't want Jace to pick up the dribble just after he passes half court there.
.11 seconds on the clock as the Cougars will inbound with a tie game here in the first half. I think both teams are playing to their strengths so far, so it's a game that is the best of both, I'd say. Dickens on the sideline to inbound. Stanton, Burns, Walker, and Quaddy in the game. Gives it to Stanton. Stanton across to Walker. Walker pushes in, finds Quaddy. Goes up strong for the finish.
Nice finish.
3 seconds remaining. Sanders from half court. Off the back of the backboard and had a chance.
He did.
And the Cougars will go into halftime with the lead.
Very few fouls called that quarter. 3 on one and 0 on the other.
All right, well, we'll send you through the first half recap as we take an audio break here, and we'll be back to start the second half in about 10 minutes. All right, we're back, ready to start the third quarter. Brian Schumacher alongside Brad Burns. Brad, we were just discussing at halftime that Caleb Quaddy, the leading scorer for the Cougars, is at 997 career points now for the Cougars, so very good chance that he could break the 1,000-point. We would expect that he will break the 1,000-point mark here in the second half.
Yeah, I went over to the official score table to make sure we were getting close, and she confirmed that he had 9 points his first half, so.
It is the Blue Jays arrow coming out.
It's one thing we have not had is jump balls.
True. Not much on the floor.
No.
Clark over here on the sideline to inbound for the Blue Jays. Into Sanders. Walker defending on Sanders. Makes the pass to Clark. Clark, good hands to keep that in. Into the corner for Harrell. Entered into Clark. Clark bodying up. Kicked out to Sanders for three. And he gets it. Cougars quickly up ahead to Quaddy. He rises up.
Oh, that's questionable call there.
Oof. The old shoulder-to-shoulder charge. Blue Jays take the lead in the third quarter, 35-34. Sanders brings it up court. Over to Winslow on the left wing. Looks for Morgan. Morgan back up top to Clark. Harrell's open. He pushes in, kicks it back to Sanders. Over to Winslow. To Clark. He looks baseline. Quaddy's there, kicks it to Harrell. Back up to Sanders. Good pursuit on the ball. Back to Harrell. And Walker deflects it away. Will stay Blue Jays ball.
Yeah, good defensive recovery there. They look like they could have had some open looks there, but we quickly got a hand in the face, so they just neglected to go ahead and shoot the three ball.
Clark on the ball. Schumacher defending. He pushes into the elbow, kicks it back to Winslow. He'll take the three, and he makes it. 4-point lead now for the Blue Jays. Walker up to Schumacher. He gets into the front court. Inside for Quaddy. Quaddy loses the handle, gets it back. Over to Walker. To Dickens on the left side, or the right side. Takes the three off the glass. Quaddy fights for the rebound, gets it, and puts it back for two.
Way to stay with it, way to hustle. That's what we need is those offensive rebounds on the missed threes.
Clark on the ball. All the way across. Stanton gets the steal. Patient with it as he gives it to Quaddy. Up to Walker. Walker fakes it to Schumacher, to Quaddy, back to Schumacher, back up to Walker for three. Spins around and falls out. Winslow and Morgan are there. Winslow's able to corral it and give it to Morgan. Into the front court for Sanders. He drives in with his left, Euro step through, too hard off the glass. Stanton, good box out, outlet to Dickens. Dickens pushing up ahead. He steps through on Morgan and gets the blocking foul.
Calls the block.
Boy, I don't know about that one.
You got the shoulder bump last time's the charge, and you got the kid standing there, and Colson goes into him and gets the block, so you just never know.
Yeah, that looked like he was pretty well set for as long as you could be set. But we'll call it a makeup call and call him even, 1-1. Dickens in and out on the first. We should have told Dickens that that was a makeup. That way he didn't intentionally miss that.
Right. Oh, we got to. Oh, boy, they're going to go ahead and award the late sub.
All right, so that was Morgan's third. So Frederick is back in the game.
He set out about an entire second quarter, didn't he?
Seemed like it, yeah.
I think so.
Frederick played much of the second. Dickens makes the second free throw. 1-point lead for the Blue Jays. Frederick will inbound. Quaddy on the ball. Into Clark. Trap comes. Up ahead. Finds Sanders. Sanders backdoor for Winslow. Stanton's there to defend, and Dickens pulls down the rebound too hard off the glass.
Oh,
Dickens got caught trying to get it to Quaddy and took the extra step. Gets called for the travel. Sanders in the backcourt. Walks it up. Over to Winslow.
Clark is the only one I've seen for them get really impatient with the offense and then take some bad shots.
Clark for three, off the front of the rim. Winslow deflects it out. Dickens
Colson went down on his ankle.
Clark gets it back all the way into the corner for Harrell. Harrell takes the quick three, and he gets it. Schumacher quickly up ahead. Kicks to the corner for Quaddy. He takes the three. Off the glass short. Clark pulls down the rebound. Clark pushing ahead, gets all the way through. Into the corner for Sanders. Sanders misses the three. Quaddy gets a big rebound. Out ahead. Schumacher drives in with the floater. Quaddy on the follow. And still on it. He gets it to go.
1,001 points right there.
Congratulations to Caleb Quaddy. 1,001 career points and a 2-point lead for the Blue Jays. Sanders cuts through. Good job by Stanton going straight up. Can't get the finish, but the Blue Jays get the offensive rebound. And Winslow's proven me wrong with two threes here in the second half.
Yeah, that's where not getting those rebounds and giving them second chances, they'll punish you with it.
Deflected off the Blue Jays. Will stay Cougars ball. 5-point lead for the Blue Jays. Yukonah and Smith subbing in for Stanton and Dickens. Quaddy inbounding, gets it to Yukonah. Back to Quaddy. He rises up. Backside rebound off of Clark will stay Cougars ball. Smith inbounding this time. Cougars in a box set. Into Yukonah, up to Schumacher. Over to Walker. Walker holds up his head, over his head, and back dribbles to reset. Double screen coming with Yukonah and Quaddy. Walker pushes out to Schumacher. He penetrates in, kicks it back to Walker. Walker looking baseline. Sanders, good job defending. Back to Schumacher. Schumacher drives in on the angle, spins it back to Smith. Smith pokes in into the corner for Schumacher. He's looking to get to the baseline, flips it up to Yukonah. Deflected by Sanders, and Clark makes the steal. Baseline by Frederick, back out. Winslow on the ball. To Sanders, inside for Frederick. Quaddy gets in the air, and Frederick with the turnaround jumper, in and out. And Walker pulls down the rebound.
That one went down about as far as you could before it came back out.
Walker being trapped, over to Schumacher on the left. Finds Quaddy at the free throw line. He rises up and hits. Back to a 3-point game for the Blue Jays. 44-41. 4 minutes left. Oh, I lost my clock here. Sorry, there's 3 minutes left in the third. Harrell being defended by Smith. Into the corner for Winslow. Clark will reset up top. Into the corner for Harrell. Off the front of the rim, Yukonah gets up, and foul called on the backside on the Blue Jays. It will be the Cougars' ball. Walker, Quaddy, Schumacher sub out as Burns subs in with Dickens and Stanton. All the way inside, Stanton's able to save it. Back to Yukonah for Burns for three. It's short, but Stanton's there for the rebound. Can't get the putback, and Clark pulls it down. Quickly up ahead to Frederick.
Way out in front.
Yukonah defending off of Frederick.
Yeah.
Will be Cougars' ball. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on with my clock. It's froze on me. There we go. All right, Dickens up ahead. Gets through the trap to Burns. Over to Dickens for three.
Short.
Long rebound, fight for it. Burns gets on the floor. Frederick's on the floor. Looking for an option, gets it to Harrell, but Dickens steals. Up to Stanton, and Stanton finishes. 1 point game. Clark quickly up ahead, takes the long three. It's short. Nobody there to rebound for the Blue Jays as the Cougars pull it down. Stanton up ahead to Burns. Back to Stanton at the top of the key. He'll take the quick three. Off the back iron, long rebound, Stanton's able to get to it. Back to Yukonal on the cut, just missed him, and Clark is going to push. Up ahead to Sanders, Burns there to defend. Sanders can't get the finish. Winslow on the follow. He can't get it to go, and Smith pulls it down. Winslow called on the push. Is that his, let's see, subs coming in the game for the Cougars. That's his second. Miller and Dickens subbed in the game, I believe there. Miller in the corner. To Quaddy at the elbow, back to Dickens. Into Quaddy, he rises up. Long off the iron. Frederick pulls down the rebound. Finds Clark. 1 minute left here in the third. 1 point lead by the Blue Jays. Clark throws a rifle through Winslow's hands.
Yeah, he gets a little antsy. This close game and this not easy to score for him. He's getting a little frustrated, you can tell.
Winslow is the goalie for the soccer team, so he's probably used to that high ball. Stanton all the way across to Dickens. He wants the three, and he got it. Whistle blown. I'm not sure what the...
Cleaning up the Quaddy fell and cleaning up the sweat.
Quaddy's going to drop back. 40 seconds left here in the third. Blue Jays inbounding on the end line. Sanders walks it up the right side, dribbling with his left hand. Miller comes up to pick him up. Into the corner for Clark. Back up top to Harrell. For Sanders on the set play, and he hits it. Back to a 1 point lead for the Blue Jays. Miller stays in the backcourt, gets it up to Stanton, and Stanton draws the foul on Frederick.
Dangerous pass, but luckily Stanton put him between him and the ball and drew the foul.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job by Stanton going to the ball and not letting Frederick take the space. So 19 seconds left. It will be a bonus if there's another foul for the Cougars. Cougars likely playing for the last shot. Walker over to Dickens. Dickens into the corner for Stanton. Stanton all the way across to Walker. Walker looks in, doesn't find it. Dribbles back, 7 seconds remaining. Quaddy at the key, over to Dickens for three. Off the side of the rim, and Clark pulls it down. 1 second left, loose ball. Quaddy throws it up, and that will do it for the third quarter. 3 point swing here in the third. Cougars led by 2 at half. Blue Jays go into the fourth, leading by 1.
You can tell that they have not been challenged close games very much this year. They had the one that they lost, last second deal. But other than that, you can tell they're a little uncomfortable playing in a close game like this.
Yeah, these tournaments are great for both teams to prepare for districts because there's just nothing quite like the intensity of win in advance. So really good opportunity for them to both showcase their skills here in the fourth quarter. Cougars playing a much deeper rotation. Like we said, the Blue Jays are basically 6 deep, and with Morgan in foul trouble, actually Frederick also has 3 fouls. So both Morgan and Frederick, I believe, are the only 2 subs that have subbed for each other. They each have 3 fouls.
Yeah, and he's not even letting him start the fourth quarter then with the fouls that he's got, so.
Cougars inbound to start the fourth. Walker holds, gets it over to Dickens on the left side. Stanton flashes high over to Schumacher. Schumacher into the corner for Walker. Walker looks to the corner for Dickens. Trap comes. Dickens finds Quaddy. He rises up off the front of the rim. Loose ball. Frederick's able to get to it. Stanton tries to poke it out from behind, but they're able to secure it, and Clark brings it into the front court for the Blue Jays. Winslow to Sanders. Looks inside for Clark. Walker defending, and Clark rises up over him and gets the 2 points. Stanton quickly out ahead. Up to Walker at the top of the key. Walker back dribbles all the way across to Dickens. To Walker at the wing. Decides not to take it. Gets it to Schumacher. Schumacher dribbles back up. Bounce pass to Stanton. Back to Schumacher on the left. Looks inside for Quaddy. Quaddy into the corner for Walker. Clark defending. Back to Schumacher over to Dickens. He'll take the 3. Long, high in the air. Clark pulls down the board. Quaddy and Stanton come on the trap, but Clark's able to dribble out of it. Into the corner for Sanders, and he gets it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we took our time and was patient on offense, but we really never did anything with it. We just threw it around the outside, let the zone just kind of work and cover their areas, and never really had any action or drive or kicks. It was just one of those, we were almost going through the shell drill, giving them some defensive practice there.
Yeah, Sanders has been huge for him, making big 3-point baskets when they need him. Like I've reiterated a couple times this game, both teams are playing well. It's nice to see a game where they're both playing their game, and it's still a competitive game where anyone can really take control. The bigs for both teams have done a good job of staying out of foul trouble.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they don't utilize Clark a little bit more on that inside, because once he's big enough and tall enough, he does not like to be physical, but he still, when they did that little down low play to him, he scored easily.
Over to Dickens, to Stanton. He fumbles it, but gets it back. It's trapped. Sanders and Winslow gets it into Walker. Walker into the paint, kicks it back to Schumacher. Harrell steals it away, and Frederick on the follow. Can't get it to go. Quaddy pulls it down. Outlet to Schumacher. Up ahead to Dickens. Dickens back to Schumacher. Over to Stanton. Stanton looks inside, switches it all the way over to Dickens. Dickens pushes middle, floater off the side of the rim, and Clark pulls it down. Clark's going to push up ahead. Clark steps through and doesn't finish. Frederick gets the rebound, though. Clark goes in strong and finishes this time. Quickly out to an 8-point lead for the Blue Jays. Cougars need a basket bad here on this possession. Stanton at the top of the key takes the 3. Long. And Clark, actually Sanders pulled that down and gives it to Clark. Clark pushing to Frederick. This ball goes to Quaddy. Quaddy's going to push. He steps through, rises up off the glass. Stanton on the backside, gets the pump fake, and finishes.
Yeah, we had a 5-on-3 advantage there. Yeah, he hit the whole wall pretty hard.
Walker and Quaddy are going to sub out for Yukonaw and Burns. And on Frederick's injury, Morgan's coming back in the game with 3 fouls. Harrell over to Clark, right into Stanton's hands. Stanton, good read. I don't even know where that was going, though. Burns to Stanton, into the corner for Schumacher. He'll take the 3, and he got it.
Good ball movement. Burns went back to Stanton, and instead of passing it directly to Schumacher, and then it drawed the defense back to the middle, and Schumacher was wide open then in the corner.
Harrell on the ball. Dickens defending to Winslow on the left side. Flips it to Sanders. He wanted it. He passed it back to Harrell. Back up to Sanders. To Harrell as he's looking inside for Clark. Finds Morgan with the left. Yukonah gets the rebound. Outlet to Burns. Burns pushes up to Schumacher. Schumacher with the floater off the front rim. Pulls down the... It looked like he had the rebound there but couldn't secure it.
Yeah, he must have been on the line when he went for it because it didn't look like he was out of bounds quite yet, but his foot must have taken off when he was on the line.
Back to the action. Clark walking it up. Quaddy going to the table to check back in for the Cougars. Into the corner for Sanders. Back up top to Winslow. Winslow all the way across the frame, handoff to Clark. Burns and Schumacher come on the double all the way to Harrell on the opposite side. Harrell picks up his dribble, gives it to Sanders. Sanders holds, finds Morgan. Back up top to Sanders as the Blue Jays are running a little clock. 4 minutes left in the game. Blue Jays up by 3. Sanders to Clark, baseline drive. Clark loses the handle. Ball in the air. Burns gets a touch on it, but Sanders is able to get it back. Enter to Clark in the low post. Clark spin move off the front of the iron. Morgan with a big rebound, kicked it out to Harrell. Winslow tries to enter it in. Stanton with a good defensive play to get out in front of that entry pass to Clark. And the Cougars have a chance to tie it up. Deflected away, pass up ahead. Clark drives in, looking for the charge.
That's a charge.
Burns and Stanton were there to take the spot. Let's see if we can look at that on replay. Subs coming in the game for the Cougars as Quaddy's back in. Looks like 3 came in. It was Miller, Walker, and Quaddy back in the game.
There's probably going to be a lot of sweat with as many kids that went down on that one.
Yeah. So Cougars have the ball again. 3-point lead for the Blue Jays. Cougars have a chance to tie again. Five in the game for the Cougars are Burns, Walker, Miller, Yukonah, and Quaddy. For the Blue Jays is Sanders, Harrell, Clark, Morgan, and Winslow.
Clark was determined. As soon as he got that ball at half court, looked like in his eyes he was going all the way no matter who was in front of him.
Had a couple nice games here in the tournament so far. We are here at the 41st Annual Mercy Warrior Classic, the second round. Tuesday night's games, McAuley won on took the lead on maybe 5 seconds left in the game against Providence. Cougars moving the ball around the horn. Walker on the right side to Quaddy at the elbow. Quaddy rises up off the side of the rim. Yukonah fights for the rebound with Winslow. Sanders is able to get in there. Outlet to Clark. Clark looking to go downhill again. He'll pull it back up. Goes baseline. Looks all the way across for Harrell. Entered into Morgan. Loose ball on the floor.
Oh, he was out of bounds when he touched it. Walker was out of bounds when he touched the ball, so it stays there.
Dickens, Stanton, and Schumacher subbing in the game for the Cougars as Miller, Yukonah, and Burns come out. Blue Jays have the ball underneath. I'm sorry, there's a correction there. Miller's going to stay in. Walker is coming out. They have Clark up top at the top of the key. You can see Quaddy's trying to read this pass. If Harrell throws a lazy pass, Quaddy's going for the steal. But Winslow's on the backside too, so you have to honor Winslow rising up for an easy pass in. Clark goes for the floater. Good defense by the Cougars into the corner for Morgan. Entered into Winslow. Double team comes. Back to Morgan, up top to Clark. Clark into the corner for Harrell. Harrell takes the quick three. Air ball as Miller pulls it down on the backside. Up ahead to Stanton. Stanton into the front court. He pushes into the elbow all the way over to Dickens. Dickens for three. Short as Quaddy gets a touch. Back to Dickens, over to Miller. To Stanton, back to Dickens.
Look in the corner.
To Dickens, into Schumacher in the corner for three. And hits off the side, the top of the backboard. Out of bounds.
It was a good shot, a good look. The only bad thing is we keep trying to tie it. We've passed up some 2-point attempts if we go in. We're playing good defense on the other end.
Cougars in the full court press. All the way across to Winslow on the left side. Might be able to trap him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'd be the one you'd want to try to make handle the ball.
Get it to Sanders on the right side. Sanders dribbles back to the middle, gives it to Clark on the left wing. Clark dribbles in, back to Sanders. Over to Winslow. Winslow looks in. Back up to Sanders at the top of the key. Over to Morgan. Morgan back to Sanders. 2 minutes left to play. And timeout called by the Blue Jays.
2 minutes left. Their coach is probably going to say, we're not in a hurry to score. We're only going to score if we get wide open looks. And we're going to make them worry about the clock, would be my guess, is what their coach is going to tell them.
Yeah, as the Cougars coach, what are you saying here coming out of the inbound?
Well, we've got a lot of fouls to give since we've got 0. So to get them into shooting, it's going to take a lot. So I'm going to tell them to play as aggressive as possible on defense. Go for the steals. Don't go for stupid fouls, but you want to go for absolutely every steal and harassment you can to just make them try to make a dumb pass and not stay back.
Yeah, what you can't do is be careless on a shooting foul.
Correct.
And let them have an and one. But yeah, anything out on the perimeter where you can just take that extra risk, it's a good opportunity to do so. Here with really fouls are your friend right now, not your enemy. Sanders walks into the front court. Quaddy's playing up high. Looks like the Cougars have moved to man. Sanders over to Harrell. Miller defending. And Walker picks up that first foul.
But that's the aggressiveness. You want to do it 18 foot away from the basket, not 3 foot away from the basket at this point.
Again into the backcourt for Sanders. He loses the ball, able to get it back to Clark. Entered into Winslow. Winslow holding at the elbow. Walker got hit in the head, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's looking dazed, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, when they tipped that through, his follow-through came down and smacked Walker right on top of the head.
All right, so we do just have 1:36 left. The Cougars have to play aggressive. Harrell inbounding the ball to Sanders in the backcourt. Schumacher picks him up. Frederick on the ball. Trap comes. They find Sanders all alone. Sanders baseline, leaves it for Clark. Clark rises up and can't get the finish, but will go to the line to shoot two.
Yeah. That was almost exactly what we were warning against. Almost a three-point play on a little bunny.
Clark makes the first to make it a two-possession game, 55-51. Still plenty of time left, 1:25 left on the clock. But the Cougars do have to score. Clark makes them both, 5-point lead for the Blue Jays. Dickens brings the ball up court, Harrell defending. Picks up his dribble, gives it to Quaddy. Tried to throw it through, Sanders deflects. Good job by Dickens getting it back. Miller to Stanton at the elbow. Stanton kicks it to Miller in the corner. Miller for three. It's long, and Clark pulls down the backside rebound.
Somebody's got to pick him up and pressure him.
Sanders walking it up court. Almost got the double dribble there. Clark at the free throw line into the corner for Harrell. Trap comes and foul on Stanton.
Blue Jays call a timeout.
So each team now with 2 timeouts remaining. Official clock has 52.3.
Did you get your clock to working okay again?
Yeah, I was on a screen that was prohibiting me from starting it. So once I got there, we were good to go.
Whether Jace is recovered, whether they went through concussion protocol there with him a little bit, with the trainer was over there with him anyway.
All right, Blue Jays back to inbound. Into the corner for Clark. Finds Winslow down low, and Winslow finishes. 7-point lead now. Cougars need to score quickly. Burns up ahead to Quaddy, to Miller, into the corner for Smith. He takes the 3. Long rebound goes to Harrell, up ahead to Frederick. And Frederick goes to the basket and finishes. 9-point lead now. Burns up ahead to Miller. Back to Burns. Back to Miller at the top of the key, over to Stanton. Stanton will take the 3. And long as Sanders pulls it down. And that will probably do it. 9-point lead, 60-51. Frederick inside for Clark. And that makes it 11. That'll do it. Cougars had a chance at the end. Had some 3-point opportunities, just couldn't convert.
Yeah. And even Caleb with his jump up elbow shots he usually converts on. The lid was on the basket there for several possessions where we just couldn't get the ball to go in. But congratulations to Caleb Quaddy for getting his 1,000th, over his 1,000th career point in this ball game.
All right, well, we'll close out here with the second half recap. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back at, what did he just say?
12:30.
12:30 on Saturday for the third place game versus, is it the loser of this game tonight?
Correct.
Rush versus McAuley.
Pretty confident on how this game will go.
On behalf of Cougars basketball, I'm Brian Schumacher along with Brad Burns, wishing you all a good night.